If we ask the average dog what they thought of their owner, if the dog's going to be honest, they're likely going to say, "Oh my God, I won the lottery for dogs. I love my roommates." And that can be a bit of a problem when you're trying to teach a dog basic obedience or resolve a behavior problem. What we want to do when we're going to really equip a dog owner with the tools that they need, I call it colors in the palette, to help their dog learn basic obedience or undo some of the problems associated with behavior problems, is have the dog transition from thinking we're roommates gently over to seeing us as a loving authority figure. Now, the best analogy I've been able to think of to help make that distinction, because in the dog training world, there's these two schools of thought that, like, one ideology is all positive all the time, and it's kind of like a never really say no, that kind of moment we all hear in our lives from a mother or father. "I'm not asking you, I'm telling you." So it's a kind of a Disney-esque approach that often leads to behavior problems, because we all need more structure and clarity as to who's the teacher, who's the student, than that when we're growing up. Or there's the other type, that sort of alpha pack leader dominance nonsense. Again, that's a relationship, but it's kind of I don't want our dog to be submissive. I want to develop a relationship where they're subordinate. So that approach, the way I explain it to clients, is that if we all went to a bar and we didn't behave, we'd experience dominance pretty soon through the appearance of a bouncer or two. And if we're all in the parking lot afterwards patching ourselves up after our encounter, we're not exactly thinking, "Geez, that'd be a great way to raise a kid." So those two approaches, I think they can cause as many problems as they potentially might resolve. The way you should think of it is, if I was a child and I came over to your house and I was with my mother, and you said, "John, would you like a cookie?" That's a rhetorical question for the average kid. Of course they want the cookie, and sadly for me it's still a rhetorical question. I still want the cookie. But as a kid, I would have learned to look to my mother and go, "Would I like a cookie?" And her job is not to answer me in a manner of which that satisfies what I want, but what it is she thinks I need. Because her job is to help prepare me for life. And, it's a journey. So there's lots of little things go on along the way. And so she might in that moment decide, though, it's too close to dinner, and say no. And if I looked at her and gave her a look, she would look directly back at me and wordlessly say, "You got to think about this, John. You're going to be alone in the car with me in 5 minutes." Her role is different. It's not that Disney-esque role. There's no question that it's loaded with love. She'll go through a burning building for us. But it is a relationship that's there that is more of what I'd call a loving authority figure. And she develops tools in her tool bag that help us achieve life skills in an age-appropriate manner as we approve. So that's one of the things that I work with all clients on, is how to make that transition. So it's not too sudden, and but the dog kind of wakes up one morning and goes, "I don't know what you've been putting in your coffee since you were talking to that crazy John Wade guy, but you know who remind me of now? Not a roommate. Oh my gosh, you remind me of my mother."